Married, you're not a maid. That's going to be the story of today. Today is day 7, guys. Day 7. This is the last day for it, okay? This is the last day for the relationship conversation about people being married for a long period of time and becoming a maid. Becoming that person that is sitting and working 24/7 with the kids, with everybody, with the family, with a husband. And when they're done, they are exhausted. They start arguing. They start just arguing about everything. But little you know, it's not really about that. My name is Nancy Mitchell. I am a love guru, your guide to better relationships. Guys, it's day 7. Let's get into it and just finish it up. Okay? Now, again, I want to just touch base with all of the series that I had done for this week. Again, I just wanted to let you know that you made that decision to walk down the aisle with your boo, with your, fiance. You walk down that aisle and say, I am going to get married to this guy. I'm going to stay with him the rest of my life. I'm going to get married to this female. I'm going to stay with her for the rest of my life. That is a decision you both made, and you are both married, and you want to make sure that you're going to do everything in your power to make this work. I don't support divorce. However, I wouldn't want anybody. I wouldn't do it for myself. I wouldn't want anybody to stay married on the just on the notion that, okay, I am married and I cannot get a divorce, or it is, with a church stating that you can't get a divorce, or, it is something else, because there's so many things that can happen within the course of you getting married and going down 2, 3, 10 years. And you either have a gap where your disconnect is so far apart that it cannot be mended, or something traumatic happened and you're going through situations where it may be some abuse or something. There are so many things, or to be honest with you, just simply being unhappy. Because if you said I do and this is what you wanted, however, we all make mistakes or we grow apart, and you say this is not what I want anymore and you are unhappy. Guys, ladies, if you're unhappy and you see that you cannot mend it, then what else? What other decision that you're going to make for yourself? You're going to live this life until you die? That's going to be your decision. That's going to be up to you. But that's something that I don't support. But however, if there's a situation that you have to cut ties, then I would agree with you in cutting ties if that is going to be best for your mental health. It's going to be better for you just being a happy person and fulfilling your purpose. Okay? So I definitely want to get that out. And this segment is just going to be about, what you're fighting for. What is it that you fight for? What is it that you said, oh my God, I can't do this, I can't do that. And you would have an argument with your spouse. You would have an argument with your husband, I should say. And, you would say, oh my God, I don't want to do the dishes, or I don't want to do this, and I don't want to do that. And a big argument start. And then, what are you really arguing about? The dishes? Is it really the dishes? 90% of the time it's not. It's going to be something that it's deep down in your in your core, in your heart. It's going to be something like, you're misunderstood. You're not being understood by your husband or your wife, or there's something else brewing beneath that, and you need to get some kind of assistance. You need to do some counseling. You have to get something done. You can't just keep on living your life like this. I mean, a lot of people have lived their life like this and die, and that's it. But I wouldn't advise anybody to do this for themselves. I wouldn't advise it for anyone. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I wouldn't want this for anyone, for you to live your life feeling like you're not fulfilled. You're not, you're not fulfilling your purpose. You're not being happy. You're just not happy in that relationship. I would not recommend this for you, okay? So just be careful of what is it that you're fighting for. What is it that you're arguing about? Your argument's supposed to be something that's deeper. So you need to go fix that and get that sorted out so you can start mending back your relationship and your marriage and being happy with each other. Okay? So number 1, the fight isn't about socks or dishes or something else. It's about feeling invincible. Okay? So if you think that you're not being heard, you're not being appreciated, you're just not being loved, then you're gonna know, lash out and on your husband, you're going to lash out on your wife, and when you're done, then you're going to be hurting them. And is that something that you want? I don't want it. You know, that's not what the other party want. They don't want to feel unwanted. They don't want to feel, you know, cursed out. They don't want to feel sad. Okay, so you got to start looking in your inner thoughts, your core values, your, you know, your purpose of what is it that you want from this relationship, you want for your life. Start looking into these things and start connecting them to say, okay, I want my husband. I love my husband. I'm going to work on it and make it better. Okay. Number 2 is going to be listen to understand and not defend. A lot of people listen and they either start a conversation, start an argument, they try to win the conversation, they try to defend, you know, or they just try to get involved and just not listen. Or it goes through one ear and comes through the other. I mean, when your husband or your wife is talking to you, you got to take time out and stop and listen. Because when you listen, you at least make the other party feel appreciated that you're listening to them, and not just listen and not understand. Listen to understand, to make sure that, you know, you're understanding what is it that they're trying to bring across to you, what will be their challenges that, you know, they're facing, and things that you could maybe fix. Nobody's telling to change who you are. However, if you're in a relationship and you're in a marriage, it's something that you both need to compromise, you need to communicate, and you need to work on. Okay, those are going to be some of the key values of a marriage. So you have to be very careful that you are going to be practicing this and not just a one-sided relationship where it's only what you want. Okay, so be very careful to listen and understand your spouse. Number 3 is going to be healthy conflict can lead to deeper intimacy. Okay, if both are willing. So if you have an argument, you have a conflict, and you both realize that, oh my God, this conflict or this, you know, disagreement, this argument, this outburst of, you know, senseless argument, it didn't make sense. It didn't really make sense for any of us. You know, you can lead that up to some real hot makeup sex where, you know, you use it to your advantage instead of using it against the both parties. So that is something that you can turn into being positive when you may have a little argument here and there. You know, you don't want to have loud outbursts. You're adults. You have to make sure that if the kids are there, you have to take it outside, take it in the room, and make sure that they're not hearing through the walls, because some of these walls are very thin. So you don't want to be in a situation where your kids are listening to your arguments or your conversations. And very most importantly, please, parents, don't have your kids, your younger kids, listening to you doing your makeup sex. Okay, it's just not good. Okay, it's not healthy, and it's not something that you want to portray and have your kids be a part of. Okay, so make sure that whenever your arguments or sex activities or whatever it is, you're going to be in a room away from the kids where they're not listening and hearing what's going on, and then it's going to traumatize them for life. So that's very, very, very important. Okay. I want to just make sure I touch with, again, the males. I beg of you, you got to treat your wife as a trophy. You have to treat her as a queen that she is. You married to her. You claim her as your wife. You need to treat her nothing less than that. And if you cannot do that, you need to, you know, just leave. You need to just break ties and leave, instead of you're going to make her unhappy. And then, because if she's unhappy, you're going to be unhappy. Happy wife is going to be a happy life. Okay, so you don't want to ever do that. You need to treat her like a queen that she is. And I guarantee you, any decent female that is being treated like a queen is always, I don't care where you're from, it's always going to turn around and treat you back like a king. It's always going to happen. So you have to be careful that don't sit around and say, oh, I'm waiting for her to do this, I'm waiting for her to do that. No, guys, you are a man. You're supposed to make sure that she feels safe. You were supposed to be the provider. You're the one that's supposed to be the backbone of the family. So if you're saying that this is who you are, then act the part and start doing that. And then you have a happy life and a happy family and a happy marriage, a happy relationship. So there you have it. that's going to be the end of my segment for this series of Married, You're Not Being a Maid. You don't want to work yourself to death. I want to touch back on this point before I go. I want to make sure to tell the females that God created everybody on this earth, and of course the males, so males and females, God created you. You have a purpose in life. You always have a purpose. If you don't know your purpose, dear me, I can assist you with that. You can definitely make sure that you understand what your purpose is in life and start following your dreams and your purpose that you have for this life. Okay, it's very important. Don't sit by and make your husband have you cook, clean, wash, iron, and do everything and be a maid, and then all of your dreams and all your purpose that you have, all your goals that you have,